Gang, what's up? Where's the hole? There it is. There it is, yes. Welcome to the last week of Senior High Bible Study. Thanks for making this a part of your semester, and if this has been what you've done for the past 4 years, thank you for being part of this. I'm sorry I'm not here for the last one, but thanks to Landon and Phil for being here. Anywho, we've been running a series this semester called You Missed It. So our last story is coming out of the book of Acts, which is where a lot of our stories have come from this semester. And it is all about Paul going to the beautiful and still living city of Athens. That's in Greece. So our story takes place in Athens. Paul goes there kind of on this random trip. And I assume you've already read the story. And if you haven't, go ahead and do so now. I'll just wait here. So Athens back in the day, and I assume so probably still some ways now, was known as a bastion of philosophy. I don't know who did all the work there, but there was a lot of thinking being done. It was a very popular place for philosophers to get together, and they would meet at this particular place called Mars Hill and share all of the latest philosophical and political ideas with one another. Now, there were two really popular groups at that time. One were called the Stoics. The others were called the Epicureans. Those are the ones mentioned in that particular chapter in Acts. And I won't tell you too much about them, but they both had different pursuits and different philosophies. They both sought meaning in life. Neither believed in any kind of afterlife, though, which is interesting. And when you think of Greek mythology, oftentimes you think of the gods. These two groups of people did not believe that those gods really served any purpose on earth, that they were more just stories than anything else. So it's got to be quite an invitation for Paul to be invited up onto Mars Hill to speak in front of so many people about what he believes about the one living God. So Paul gets up and he starts sharing about these different idols and these different things he has seen in a very polite way. And he happens to mention this one particular idol that he came across that was called, or that had the inscription, "To the Unknown God." Who is that unknown God? So to answer that question, you got to back up about 400 years. And I won't make this long, I promise. About 400 years ago, there was this poet named Epimenides. It was believed that he slept in a cave for 57 years without waking up. And when he finally did wake up, he was this prophet. Anyway, during his lifetime, which is about 400 years ago from where our story takes place, there was this horrible plague that was ravaging Athens, and they'd pray, and they couldn't get rid of it. They prayed to all their gods, and nothing was working, and so they called in Epimenides as kind of this last-ditch resort. Maybe he could figure something out. So old Epimenides, has this dream, and it's this dream where he goes to Mars Hill, the site they're at right now, finds a flock of sheep, and he says, let those sheep go where they will, and wherever they sit down, sacrifice those sheep on the spot and build an idol on those spots. So the people of Athens do just that, and lo and behold, according to legend, the plague goes away. So Athens gives credit to this unknown God for saving the day, for saving the people from this plague. They just don't know the name of it. Who was this God that saved the day? So here's Paul's jumping off point. He's like, I know this God. And he's not some God who's like disconnected from society. He actually cares about you. And I love the things he says. He says, for in him we live and move and exist. And he says, we're even this God's offspring. We are his children. This would have sounded so foreign to listeners like this, who did not really believe in a God who was involved in their day-to-day things. Now, the speech is going along great. Paul's got their attention. It seems very captivating until he gets to the very last line, when he lays down the punchline. He says, yeah, and the same God is one who can raise from the dead, like his own son, Jesus. That's when they all start busting out laughing, because for them and their philosophies that they have, it is too impossible to believe that it could ever happen that a God would raise a person from the dead. Now, I wonder how Paul felt walking away from this, because he had some success. It says that some people were interested and wanted to hear more. Some people laughed. Some people some people believed him. But in the greater picture of Acts, we find Paul doing this exact same thing over and over and over again, probably recorded a dozen times in Acts, where he offers his testimony, he offers what he believes about Jesus, and allows the crowd to react how they will. Just like the listeners in our story, so many people are seeking to know what you have to say or what we have to say about this unknown God, this figure in their mind that they have heard stories about and they believe in. They just don't know his name. They just don't know what he does for us. And that is where a testimony comes into play. You may not have every answer. You may not feel as qualified as Paul or someone else in the Bible to speak on what you know. But what you do know is what you know, and that's your own personal story. And so I would encourage you, in opportunities that may lie ahead, to know that there is great, great value in your story and sharing about this God that you have met and know. Gang, that's all I have. I don't know where you're going to dinner. I suggest The Catch or Hawaiian Bros. I don't know why y'all can always keep putting that down. But I will see y'all soon. A couple Sundays from now, we'll do our movie night, outdoor movie night on the 25th, I think. So y'all let me know what movie you want to watch. I'll catch you later. Bye.